An internet iceberg is essentially a collection of theories and things around a certain subject that, as the iceberg goes down, you get progressively more strange, more out there, more obscure, and just weirder. Today, we're gonna take a look at the Cartoon Network iceberg. I grew up with Cartoon Network. I absolutely loved it, and I'd always flick it on when I came home from school. And now we're gonna ruin my childhood by looking at all the strange and awful stuff that happened in and around the studio. So this is a video from Bionic Pig. I reacted to them when they took a look at the Disney iceberg. Now we're gonna take a look and ruin my childhood even further.
There's so much I love about the studio, and that's why it's gonna be so much fun digging deep and finding some deep, dark secrets behind this channel. And I'm just gonna try to stay in the confines of just Cartoon Network. You know, I'm not gonna go into Adult Swim or Toonami. I kind of feel like they're their own thing. So I'm just gonna stick within the realm of Cartoon Network, because let's be real, Adult Swim by itself has some.
Can I say the Cartoon Network logo used to be so much better? This logo right here, this is my childhood in one image. It just brings back so many positive memories. The new one, I don't like it. I kind of like the black and white vibes, but apart from that, not great. Why is Pickle Rick on the screen? We're gonna play a game today. How much of this did you already know? If you're not a Cartoon Network fan, you probably won't know too much, but you're gonna learn some interesting stuff. If you are a Cartoon Network fan, like myself, then we're gonna play a little game together today.
Now, this is something I remember, and I'm sure a lot of you probably remember as well. This was the fourth era of the Cartoon Network that lasted.
Wait, was this after my time?
Years.
2004, 2007. Wait, this was exactly the time I was watching Cartoon Network.
There were bumpers between episodes. That
dude, all of these shows is such a throwback, man.
Our favorite cartoon characters in a city kind of interacting with each other. And I just wanted to add this one.
Wait, was that Samurai Jack naked in the background?
Like the coolest thing back then. You know, seeing all your favorite characters interact with each other. And not only that, but this is just a very creative and well thought out bumper.
All of these characters I remember.
Just like in between episodes, little tidbits, but this is very well put together. And it shows Cartoon Network's creativity. You could actually get a full printout of Cartoon Network.
Wait, was Cartoon Network City in an actual place?
Of the Cartoon Network City.
Could you go there?
Every area had a purpose, and they always stayed where it was. You know, nothing really was contradictory or anything. Top tier memory for me. Love this stuff. The next one's a bit more obscure.
Can you go there?
Kind of cool. Powerpuff Girls Z. Now this one.
Whoa! No way! They made a Dragon Ball version of Powerpuff Girls. Is there an episode where they blow up the moon?
It's a big surprise to me. Apparently,
I've never seen this.
Powerpuff Girls anime in Japan. The anime was co-produced by Cartoon Network Japan and Aniplex and Toei Animation, which I don't know if you guys know this, but those are two enormous anime companies. Like,
hey, Powerpuff Girls is the perfect thing to turn into an anime because Japan loves like young girls. It's perfect for them. And they already have massive eyes, so they'll fit right in.
Aniplex is responsible for Full Metal Alchemist.
Because anime characters have massive eyes. I don't want people to take that the wrong way.
Kill la Kill, Gurren Lagann, Gintama, and even Bleach. And obviously not even to mention Toei Animation, we all know that's just all Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, etc. So it's a very big surprise that this show was made, and you know, not
that's
many
so funny. I love that.
Really aware of it.
Was it the same story?
I'm kind of curious how it was. Like, was it good? And the anime's English language adaptation was actually produced in association with Ocean Productions, which was also with Dragon Ball Z, and it was aired on Cartoon Network in the Philippines and Boomerang in Australia and New Zealand.
So why isn't there a crossover where Goku fights one of the Powerpuff Girls? Now that would be a good fight.
In 2008. So it never really got much airtime at all.
You imagine Goku just flying and be like, "Hey, I heard Mojo Jojo is pretty strong. Let me fight him." Damn it, Kakarot! You can't just go and fight Mojo Jojo without help. I'll come along. We might have to fuse into Vegito.
In America, so that's why we've never heard of it. I mean, me personally, I feel like it would have been a really cool and perfect fit for Toonami, but you know, whatever. You know, maybe they'll bring it back. Moving on to Cartoon Network Reel. This is kind of what, I guess, destroyed Cartoon Network for a while. This was a block on the channel that it did not last long at all.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that died quick.
You know, a studio called Cartoon Network. Live action just instantly is not going to do good. And this mostly consisted of game shows. You know,
it would be like me uploading a video about me playing football. Obviously, all you care about is Pokemon video, then you're not going to care about me playing football. A tale as old as time. Do not diversify. Always pigeonhole yourself.
Big game show trend that was going on with Nick. They kind of tried to recreate it, I guess. They had shows like Dude, What Would Happen, Destroy, Rebuild, Destroy, and Brain Rush. And don't get me wrong, they weren't terrible.
All right, that looks pretty sick though, right?
A couple of them and they're all right. It's just like no one wanted it. No one really cared for it. You know what I mean? mean? And it did so bad, it only lasted a year, or I guess close to a year. It didn't even last a full year. So this
they felt what the YouTubers feel when they upload a 10 out of 10 video, which is the worst, by the way. You don't want a 10 out of 10 video. They get depressed and sad and then cancel it immediately.
This one I'm pretty certain is just like known by a lot of people. But me personally, I didn't know. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. Apparently, Ace became the basis of Gorilla. Now, the reason this is very interesting is if you don't know who Ace is, he's actually a character off of Powerpuff Girls. On Powerpuff Girls, he was a leader of the Gangrene Gang, and he became a temporary basis.
They're called the Gangrene Gang
album, the Now, while Murdoch was in prison. You know, all this is within their like.
I know one song by this band, and that's it.
And then after Murdoch's release from prison, apparently he stated that Ace had gone back home and that he was taking time out to write his memoirs, which.
Wait, the character? Dude, that's giving me the same vibes as when Homer Simpson played a character in the Itchy and Scratchy show, and then they said, I have to go now. My planet needs me. And he dies on the way back to his home planet.
It's just cool. Like, it's so cool seeing a character from Powerpuff Girls come on to the Gorillas. And you could actually see Ace in the music video for the song Humility. You know, that one with Jack Black in it? Which, I don't know.
Yo, anything with Jack Black, top tier.
I'm just stupid, but this was cool to me. Next, we have the Annoying Orange Show.
No.
Yay. Now, this one is
no. Probably one of the worst things that has ever come out of YouTube. Early YouTube was such a Wild West, such an interesting place. The worst things that came out of it were Fred and Annoying Orange. Because back then, you could just talk at a really high pitch in an annoying voice and get a lot of viewers because kids would watch it. Not like now, when you definitely can't speak in a high pitch in an annoying voice and get a lot of viewers because kids like it. It's a lot different now.
Really unknown. It's just the fact that it ever even existed, or even the possibility that was even thought of in the first place. It's mere existence.
I never understood the Annoying Orange. Even though I know it's kids watching it and only kids can enjoy this kind of stuff, I don't even understand how kids can enjoy it. This doesn't even look like something even the stupidest child in the planet with a face full of pixels from staring at a phone all day. I don't even know how they can enjoy it. The quality of the content is so abysmal, so bottom barrel, that it boggles my mind that even the most brain-dead baby could watch this and have fun.
Fear into the hearts of millions. Now, for those who are unaware, there was a YouTube channel known as the Annoying Orange. And
I remember when I told a girl I wanted to be an animator, and she said, "You mean to make shows like Annoying Orange?" Oh no. Well, Ron, you're doing something much better now. Pokemon videos.
Blew the frick up back then. It just depicted an orange, and then they cropped their lips and eyeballs onto an orange, and all the orange did was just what the title says, be annoying. You know, it was the era of YouTube where pitching up your voice slightly was literally just peak comedy. And for some strange reason,
I mean, that's still the case
like,
now.
Yeah, we should make an entire show based around it. Take Annoying Orange YouTube channel, make it into a full-fledged show. That makes sense. And it lasted 60 episodes. That's 2 seasons. That's longer
60
than
episodes?
lasted.
What do you make 60 episodes? It lasted longer than Chowder? Chowder was genuinely really good though. Oh my god, it lasted 60 episodes. I hate it. No, I hate this so much. What was the viewership numbers like? That makes me so sad. What do you do 60 episodes of Annoying Orange on? How many times can an orange be annoying?
How? Sunday Pants. Now, this one's an interesting show that I never knew existed. This show only lasted a month in 2005. Apparently, it was supposed to be next.
Wait, okay. Last thing about the Annoying Orange, the series was rated as the most viewed web series with 52 million views. I think this is the YouTube series, but by 2012, the Annoying Orange series hit 1 billion views. 2012, it hit 1 billion views. No wonder they made a TV show about it, man. I take it back. No, they were smart. They wanted money.
To What a Cartoon. You remember that show where it showed like little animated shorts? Well, this show displayed overseas shorts, pilots, college shorts, or even shorts created for the show itself. And the anthology varies on different types of animation, from traditional hand-drawn animation to Flash or even CGI. So it was kind of like a smorgasbord of creative ideas, you know, kind of like What a Cartoon was. But the main reason this show did not last long is the fact that it was PG and had a lot of adult themes and adult jokes throughout the show that just kids didn't get. It was actually complained that the show should have just aired on Adult Swim because it just fit better there. And apparently that's why it just failed so miserably right off the bat. I personally watched a little bit.
That's a shame. It's probably really good.
Actually 5 episodes full on YouTube you could go watch yourself. And, you know, it's not bad, but I can completely see why it would not have done well for younger audiences. But it's a very interesting watch indeed. mean, I would.
You make an episode in a bar with everyone smoking and drinking and like throwing up and like, okay, kids, you want to see this? You want to see everyone throw up on themselves?
It only lasted a month on Cartoon Network, so it's just interesting to see. All right. That clears up the tip. Let's go down a little bit deeper to tier 2.
It's tier 2 time, baby.
His hat. Now, a popular thing with the lore of Ed, Edd, and Eddy.
Wait, are we gonna hold on? I know this one. Is it gonna be the Ed, Edd, and Eddy everyone is actually dead theory?
Which me personally, I was into this concept as well. Is what the hell is Double D hiding? What's underneath that?
Oh, never mind. Okay, it's under the hat. Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense. Actually, never mind. Sorry.
Got under there, Ed. Well, apparently there was a reveal, but it kind of wasn't canon. There was a game that was released called Lunchroom
Isn't he
Rumble
just bald?
based on the Ed, Edd, and Eddy show. And when you win, there is a screen that congratulates you. And this screen actually has Double D throwing his hat in the air, and you see that he kind of has like a cornrow type haircut.
Oh no, he's a balding 8-year-old. That's so sad.
And sure, it's a very low quality image of his head, but you know, it's definitely interesting. And this is the only semi-legit,
Imagine looking at this frame and trying to analyze whether or not it's canon.
Canon picture of Double D without his hat. We
finally funny.
Did it, guys. We finally solved the mystery. Next, we have the Moxie Show, considered to be the first
what the hell is this?
Cartoon Network animated show. The interesting part of this one
is
I
hate this.
Bobcat Goldthwait, Chris Rock, and Penn Jillette. Yeah. What? This is one of the weird...
Penn from Penn and Teller and Chris Rock on this horribly animated show?
Combination of actors I've ever seen in my life. And the show itself was kind of strange, and it also doubled as kind of like a Cartoon Network.
This is way too Uncanny Valley. I don't like it.
It did pretty well. You know, it lasted a long time, and you know, it got Cartoon Network started.
Oh, it's 1993. Okay, never mind. That's pretty old though, to be fair.
As well, because that was its first original show. Did well enough where they could move on and do more. So it's a good thing. It's cool to see what the first show was. And you could actually see a lot of this stuff on YouTube. You could find a lot of this on YouTube, which I would highly recommend you do because a lot of it's interesting. Talking about interesting, the Johnny Bravo talk show called JBVO.
This slaps, man.
Was just such a cool idea, but I completely get why it didn't last. It was kind of just...
No, it's so sick. You could call in and Johnny would be misogynistic. It was great.
To fail from the start. But basically this show was a request show where Johnny was the host and viewers...
This is so... I love Johnny Bravo so much. He's so awesome.
Cartoon Network would request by mail-in, or they'd go to the website and they request episodes. You know, episodes of any show that they wanted to watch. And then Johnny Bravo would do his type thing, do his little attitude and stuff like that.
He's one of my favorite Cartoon Network characters. Johnny Bravo just has an air to him, man. He's got this confidence. He's like the cool, not cringe, not misogynistic, not sex trafficking version of Andrew Tate.
And do a little commentary and then play the episode. Which as a kid, you know, this would be pretty cool to see. You know, your favorite Johnny Bravo character addressing you directly and playing your favorite episodes. But the reason I brought this up not only is because the show is cool, but also the fact that there's one interesting episode that has kind of became a big lost media find. So one time if you requested an episode of Dragon Ball Z, and the rules of the show is you can't play any episodes that are 30 minutes or longer. So what happened, since the episode was 30 minutes, Johnny Bravo actually double timed the episode and then commentated over the entire episode and gave a play-by-play as to what was happening.
No way. That sounds amazing. I want Johnny Bravo to do reactions to everything. Hey there, pretty mama. Yeah, it seems like Vegeta's landed on the planet there. He's looking all real angry. He's not as strong as me though. I'll go take him down.
And this was such a sought after episode for so long, and it has been lost
so no
media
way. We
for
need to
a very
find
long
this
time. Until recently. Now the whole episode was not found, unfortunately, because god damn it, I want to see this, but someone uploaded like a 5-second clip of Johnny Bravo mentioning the Namekians.
5 seconds? Don't give me blue balls. Don't tickle the shaft and then leave me alone. Come on, 5 seconds.
And talking about
that's nothing.
The Namekian guru and stuff like that. Apparently it was on someone's old VHS tape. It was recorded over something. So there was only 5 seconds of it recorded. But watching those 5 seconds, it's so surreal, but at the same time, it's so freaking cool. And personally, I want to find
requested by Jennifer. What we need to do is find Jennifer. We need to launch a search party around the world to find the Jennifer that called into Cartoon Network on that day and see if she recorded on VHS her submission getting read out. Because I would assume that if someone actually made it through, the parents would be like, oh, let's keep this for the future. You'd like to look back on that, wouldn't you? so they record it. If we can find Jennifer, we may find the full episode.
Anyone has any information? Maybe I just missed something. Maybe I didn't research enough. I want to find this full episode. I want to watch this. It's so cool. Okay, next. Everyone's gonna love this one. Wonder Woman facial. Now,
yeah. I mean, tell me more. Like, what's What's the Wonder Woman facial about? Like, I mean, if I have to watch it off screen, that's okay. I mean, I can, if you send me a link, that's fine.
This might not be
what did you mean by that?
Unknown or obscure, but it's just one of those things as to why.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things that we just all want to see. No, not that I want to see it. In fact, you should tell me where it is so I can avoid it. That's
did they do it. So there's an episode on Teen Titans Go, which, you know, everybody loves Teen Titans Go, right? Yeah, it's some of your favorite stuff. I mean, sure, it took a fat dump on the original Teen Titans, which actually was a good show, and then belittled the original show and made it look like shit. But
the hell is this?
There's a scene on Teen Titans.
As an original Teen Titans enjoyer, I'm disgusted that they made a baby version.
Go that just is problematic. So basically, I guess they're doing a talent show. I don't really care to watch the episode for context personally because, you know, context doesn't necessarily make it any better. But Beast Boy, for a talent show, turns into a cow and then just blows his load all over Wonder Woman and the entire judge room. Even blows his load into the mouth of Batman.
Oh no, not Batman. Oh God. Oh, if only someone would recreate that without a cow.
Like literally all of them took a fat bukkake in the face. Like, you know that the animators were completely aware of what they were doing. And from some of the stuff we're gonna hear later on, you know those animators. You know,
animation takes a really long time. It takes a long time to draw out all the frames. And if it was a section of the video that took maybe, you know, a minute to do, an animator was likely working days, if not weeks, on just Beast Boy blowing a load on Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. And frankly, I think that's beautiful.
Are freaks, man. You know they did this on purpose. You know, but just the fact that it was on Teen Titans Go, like the baby version of Teen Titans, is just damn. Next, we have rude removal. Now, this one's pretty interesting. Just another case of them trying to sneak adult stuff into kids' cartoons. And something interesting about this is, I remember this episode. I don't know if this is some weird memory jumbo wumbo, but for some reason, I remember this. And this never aired. This was never aired on cartoons.
What? Are we having like a Mandela effect here? What episode was this? Dexter builds a machine to make Dee Dee less rude, but Dee Dee argues there's the rude one. The argument breaks out into a fight. They both go through the machine, which removes their rudeness and makes rude clones of them that go around cussing at their parents and giving them the... Oh, why did they not air it? Well, because of bad words. That would have been funny.
Cartoon Network. Apparently, it was never aired on Cartoon Network. I don't know, maybe someone had like the uncut DVD or something like that. But in this episode, Dexter invents a rude removal machine that does, you know, what the name says. It removes the rudeness out of you. And then both Dee Dee and Dexter get in the machine and they both split into a good version of themselves and a rude version of themselves. In the beginning of this episode,
it's like evil Majin Buu
depicts Dee Dee flipping the bird and Dexter mooning the camera. And similar to that SpongeBob episode,
can't show that, man.
You know, dolphin noises to filter out the words. They did that, but in this one, it's way more aggressive, and they actually used the real censor sound. Like, instead of them doing it unknowingly, they're aggressively just cussing at Dexter's mom and stuff. It's honestly hilarious.
Hey, where's the f***ing candy?
No.
Throwing that.
And you could actually find the entire episode on...
All right, well, now I just want a, like, adult version of all of the shows that I watched when I was a kid.
YouTube, and the episode is, again, hilarious. And not only that, but someone did sentence mixing, which if you guys don't know what sentence mixing is, basically it's when you take words that the characters say, jumble them up to sound like other words. They did that, and they made a very convincing recreation of the episode where they're actually cussing. Not gonna lie, it's pretty good.
Hey, where's the fucking candy?
All right, time for tier 3.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Baby.
God, it just reminds me of all those kids that walk around, they're like 5 years old, but they like yell and scream and swear at their parents in public. Oh man, I hate kids like that. You just want to kick them because they're very small and kickable, and they're being assholes, so they kind of deserve it, right? There are people that do that to my dad because my dad's a taxi driver. He takes kids to school, and there are some kids that are just absolute little nightmares that like swear and cuss at their own like grandmas. Oh my God, it's awful.
Let's start with something that everyone loves. Cartoon boobies. I know what you watch. I know the stuff you're into. You're weird. Stop it. It's not healthy. The topless
I'm not.
scene in Total Drama Island. Now, Total Drama Island is not, you know, afraid of their controversies. They've had a few, but this one was just interesting.
What, that's a genocide? Hold on, the Total Drama Island controversies, terrorism, snuff filming, starvation, enslavement, Gowlin, arson, attempted bomb, and avicide, pseudocide. What? Okay, I've only watched a few episodes of Total Drama Island. I don't remember any of that.
Which is interesting because it has a topless, uncensored scene, which as for a channel whose target audience is children, not okay. But this one's a bit up for debate whether or not it's real or if it's...
Hold on. Is it male or female? Because male nipple, totally fine. Female nipple, sound the alarms! Female nipple! Hey! Stop it! Male nipple? Well, that's okay. Man nipple? That's okay. But female nipple, then you best not be female nipple, all right? That's bad. That's evil.
Fake. There is a scene on Total Drama Island, and this is the real scene. This is actual scene in the show where Heather's top gets ripped off by a branch, and then she stands up, shows her titties, but they're blurred out. They're like pixelated out, which I just want to mention.
Wait, aren't the kids in this show like 14, 15, 16? They're not of age, are they?
Already weird. Like these characters are supposed to...
Yup, 16, great, okay, cool.
Years old, or at least
awesome
is from what I've seen. So it's just the fact of them adding a topless scene at all is just weird. But there's
the worst part about it is the fact that, you know, it was like 35-year-old men in an animating room like, yeah, and then Heather will have the shirt pop off, and then her boobs will come out, and then she'll be like, oh no, but like for a second they won't be covered, and then I'll animate that one. I'll get that bit.
Actually, a version that was put on YouTube that shows it without the pixelation, and oh my god, it's so convincing, and it's so hard to believe that it's faked. And I just want to mention,
that's on YouTube?
It's not confirmed if it's fake. Actually, the majority
I'm so glad that wasn't in the video.
Believe it's real. So that begs the question: did the animators actually animate real cartoon boobies and then pixelated? I mean, why would this scene
I wouldn't be surprised.
Be shown in the first place? It doesn't make sense. And there's even more rumors that uncensored boobie scene was actually aired in Canada, but I mean,
no, I don't believe that. There's no way.
But the only
before they ace their stuff, they double and triple check it like 17 times. There's no way that it got out.
I believe that the actual, you know, boobies out version that is on YouTube, you can go watch it. Obviously, I'm not going to show it. The reason I believe it's real is the fact that they pixelated it. They gave like a classic censor pixelation of her boobies instead of doing what most cartoon channels do and just like would cover it with another, like maybe a tree branch. I feel like that shows
the One Punch Man censorship is so good.
Animate the actual boobies, which is just weird. Next, we have an alternative Adventure Time Enchiridion title screen. Now,
you ever been impaled on a baguette before?
On the episode titled The Enchiridion, the title card was originally supposed to be very graphic, showing Finn basicly
gore warning, watch out if you don't like gore,
gutting Jake and ripping out his organs on the title screen.
Wait, why is his entrails coming out of his eyeball socket? Just in terms of an anatomy perspective, it doesn't really seem to make sense, because you'd have to, it would take a lot of effort to first pull out the eye, but then to angle yourself in such a way where you can then pull the intestines out from the eye socket. It just seems like it's not worth the effort, to be honest.
Which is pretty gross.
Oh, brains. No, I forgot. Well, since I lack those, I forgot that other creatures do have brains. No, that's
graphic. I mean, I can show it on my video, right? Like, I don't think YouTube's gonna take it down or you know, flag me for this, right? But I can see why they opted to get a more censored version of this for kids, because it's honestly quite brutal. I'm not gonna lie. Next, we have the Clarence American Psycho.
Why did they even do that in the first place?
This one is honestly kind of just hilarious. American Psycho as a whole is just a memeable movie. There are many things in American Psycho that are just ridiculous. But there's a scene in the show, Clarence, that depicts a recreation of the introduction of the main character in American Psycho. This one is just interesting as it's such a weird thing for a kid's show to do a nod to American Psycho of all things. Anti-racist.
No, I like the little references there, because I feel like a parent would catch on to it, but it doesn't change the episode. It's just the guy going to the toilet, right? That's fine. But if you're a parent watching that, it's just something that you can pick up on and be like, I see what you're doing, animator. I'm catching on.
This one I feel like a lot of people probably have seen, and you know, it was trending on Twitter a little while. The Cartoon Network released an anti-racism PSA depicting two kids, one white,
Wait, why does the black kid not have fingers?
Black, talking about getting married when they're older, and then one says they can't get married because the other one's black and one's white. And then they send
What? Okay, that seems like a kind of show that would air in like the 1970s.
Steven Universe character down and says, don't be racist. And this, for some reason, made everyone's minds explode.
Okay, that's not the best anti-racism thing though, remember? The real ender of racism was David Guetta when he made a tribute to George Floyd and said this.
So, shout out to his family.
Yo, shout out to George Floyd's family. Hope you guys are good. Racism ended, baby. Let's go.
People lost their freaking marbles about this. I've never seen so many people freak out over someone saying, don't be racist. But the huge debate was like whether or not.
Well, it's the woke liberals, you see. The woke liberals are trying to indoctrinate our children with horrible messages like, don't be racist. I actually think the worst thing about this, and they did make a mistake here, the worst thing about this was that it was cringe. And they didn't do it in a well story-told way. They just had a character jump in and say, hey, don't be racist, and thought that that was a good idea. Like, this will convince the kids. It's not even a good piece of content. You're gonna make an anti-racism message or any kind of message of any kind. It has to be wrapped up in some kind of good piece of content so that people can enjoy it while also be fed some good information. Or you're Tucker Carlson that thinks that being anti-racist is actually bad.
Not children should be introduced to racism or shown what racism is and how you shouldn't be racist, etc. Which my personal opinion, it's literally a video of someone saying don't be racist. If kids see a video that says don't be racist, I don't understand how it's bad. But personally, I think the reason people were upset is the kids were gay. I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that. Okay, we're just gonna, I just wanted to mention it. We're gonna move on. And I just want to say, I said this in the beginning, and I think you're starting to realize Cartoon Network does not have much controversy.
I think the reason people are complaining is because it's cringe and it's not because it's like actual good content. They could have made an episode that was good with the same themes that delivered the same message that wasn't just boy and boy hold hand and then someone says, don't be racism. And they're like, oh man, I'm not racist now. I love it. That's great. You could have made a good episode.
I searched, man. I dug. They have nothing compared to Disney or Nickelodeon, which is a good thing. You know, I like Cartoon Network. But moving on, I feel like this is probably one of the biggest controversies they've had. The Moonanites bomb scare. On January 31st, 2007, the city of Boston united to fend off a citywide terror threat. And this terror threat came in the form of Moonanites giving you the finger. Apparently, someone mistook these Aqua Teen Hunger Force little things as bombs, which is both scary and kind of hilarious. But Turner Broadcasting, the parent company of Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, got in very big trouble over this ad campaign. It actually terrified many people.
State police.
It actually pushed the president of Cartoon Network to literally step down because of this fiasco. And they ended up having to pay Boston $1 million settlement over an ad campaign, which, I mean, you know, in hindsight, you know, putting...
Why did they think this was bombs?
Fake bomb looking things on an ad, maybe not the best idea. All right, we're moving down.
Why did I think that was bombs? Dude, what is it with Boston and bombs as well? I remember when the Boston bombing happened during that marathon, and then Reddit went to work being detectives, and they managed to find someone and ruin someone's life because they thought they was the Boston bomber. Turns out wasn't him at all. We did it, guys.
Down a bit on to tier 4, baby. This one's gonna be full of theories of different shows. You may or may not have heard of these, but a lot of them make sense and a lot of them are very interesting. The post-depression theory of ScoobyDoo. This one is very interesting and a well-accepted theory of why the world that mysterious gang living in is always broken down and kind of shitty. And also the theory of why everyone kind of wears a mask. So this theory states that the original Scooby-Doo cartoon took place during a period of economic depression, you know, making sense of why every place they visit ends up being run down and kind of crap. The economic depression was so terrible that it even affected famous people like celebrities, professors, and even athletes, you know, like some of the villains on the show. And because of these setbacks, many of these highly respected individuals devoted themselves to a life of crime, often disguising themselves as monsters to evade blame. This also explains why the teenage characters are never seen in school because during this time, all schools are shut down. Additionally,
Jesus, that makes sense. What the hell's... Whoa, jeez.
Always in their van with no clear destination. It's kind of highly
and no parental...
all of them,
they got no parents either.
They're homeless because of the economic depression, which, you know, does explain a lot about the show and does match up pretty well, but it's just a theory. I'm not gonna...
But here's my theory. How can they be so drippy and have such cool outfits and costumes and set up such wacky devices that makes them convincingly looks like monsters if they have no money? How can they fool everyone? How could they do that?
I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna say the thing. Now for the next theory. This one, I love this theory. I've heard this one before, and it explained a lot for me. The Ed, and Eddie purgatory theory. Now,
there it is. I'm pretty sure this is confirmed not to be a real thing, but I believed this for a while as well. This is way too depressing. I don't like this theory. I don't prescribe to it. I think it was debunked. Okay, I don't think it was debunked, but I don't prescribe to it. I don't like this theory. It makes the entire show super depressing. It's not fun. It's not cool. It's not happy.
Reading when I was younger, and it made so much sense. And when you watch Ed and Eddie, do you ever get this like weird vibe? Almost a sense of loneliness and separation and kind of the feeling of like a creepypasta where like something unknown is there and you don't know what it is. I remember there was a scene in the show where it just silently showed different shots of the cul-de-sac, and I was so unsettled and I couldn't understand why. Well, there's this theory out there that
it does look like it's separated from everything else.
You ever notice that there's never any adults, or at least, you know, never any adults to show their faces? According to this theory, the children of the cul-de-sac all hail from different areas, spanning from the early 1900s to the 2000s, and they're all living in purgatory. And this would explain why the year of the show is never really explained and kind of hard to pinpoint. But every single character can be traced back to a different era of life. You know, Rolf was in the 1900s, and apparently he died from his farm animals stampeding over him, and that's why his farm animals are with him. Johnny came from 1922 and died after a long fight of tuberculosis. Eddie was born in New York City during the Great Depression, didn't have a father, so he spent most of his time trying to con people in order to make money to survive. And apparently he was always with his brother, and that's why he looks up to his brother so much during the show. And then we have Ed and Sarah's father.
Oh yeah, isn't his brother like not actually in the show? I don't think his brother was ever actually shown in this, is it?
World War II, and as a result, their mother became very distant, which is why we always see Sarah as such a bossy, controlling attitude toward her brother, because she's kind of playing the role of a parent toward him. And apparently they died in a freak car accident. There's actually like very detailed descriptions of every single character.
What made them die in a freak car accident? What makes them think that?
And this last one is just why. So Naz came from the 70s with hippie parents, which definitely makes sense. And she had a very flirtatious personality, and no joke, this is
No, I do not like the sentence flirtatious personality being assigned to an 8-year-old. Where are we going with this?
For word, what the theory says. A serial killer escaped from a local asylum, made his way into her house, and R-worded her and murdered her along with her entire family. Yep.
What? Who is making this? Dude, this is nonsense. That's completely insane. What the fuck? This is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. That's the worst theory of all time. Though, this is why I don't prescribe for this theory. This theory is dumb. This theory is people just making depressing creepypasta fan fiction and assigning it to it and being like, oh no, guys, see? And then everyone just jumped on it because it's like the only Ed and Eddie fan theory that could make sense because the cul-de-sac seems so detached from the rest of society. So they're like, oh, well, maybe it could be purgatory. But they just threw in this completely ridiculous stuff. I hate it. It's dumb.
And excessive, I would say. But I highly recommend going to read every single character's story because it's very interesting.
It's made up. It's just made up.
Every single backstory is very long. Like there's literally paragraphs of each character. Next, it's fan fiction. Disturbing pilot episode of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy called Billy and Mandy in Trepanation of
Billy and Mandy slaps so hard. This show's great. I love it.
The reason this one's so creepy is it depicts a black and white Billy and Mandy. However, they look a bit different as Mandy has a gigantic smile plastered across her face. And then she drills a hole in Billy's head and then it just starts spurting out blood everywhere. Like it literally looks like this is just a creepypasta. And this later turned out to be the beginning of what would be the final show of, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I guess this explains
Why did they chain up the art style so
The
much?
way he does. That's the only thing I could think of. But very creepy.
There's a hole in his head.
That's all I'll say. Tier 5. So this one has everything.
The last tier, baby.
Triggering or unsettling.
Oh boy, we're gonna get into the really horrid stuff now.
Before we get into this. Tier 5. So this one has everything that would be considered
You may want to
triggering
vacate if your stomach gets unsettled.
or unsettling. So, fair warning before we get into this. So next,
I like how the Nas stuff didn't get included in this.
we have Skylar Page controversy. This one is just kind of strange. On July 3rd, 2014, Skylar Page was fired from Cartoon Network after having a mental breakdown infrequently caused by bipolar. And the reason this doesn't make sense is bipolar does not cause sexual harassment, But then he was accused of sexually harassing someone named Emily Patterrz, who's a writer from another show. Jeff Rowe said on his Tumblr page that Skylar is currently in the hospital seeking medical treatment for his bipolar disorder. Supposedly, he did stuff like putting cigarettes up his nose and running around shirtless, which I guess could be like a manic.
Okay, not to say that having these kinds of mental illnesses isn't like a massive effect on your life. It can make you do things that you wouldn't normally do. It doesn't make you do that. You can't just blame it on that. You did that. That was you.
Episode of a bipolar situation, but the sexual harassment, that you can't blame that on bipolar. And apparently the sexual harassment, which makes this even weirder, is Skylar Page just made an ET hand toward Emily Partridge's crotch. So basically he just poked her crotch. And I don't know if he's using the ET as like an excuse
ET
or
phone
like a way
home
to explain it away as a joke. But in what way is that normal or okay? But this one's just interesting,
That's
with this
so
mental
strange.
break and the bipolar disorder.
That is the weirdest way to sexually harass someone that I've ever heard in my entire life. He couldn't go for the normal way. Not that you should do it at all, obviously, but he went for a whole new brand. He invented his own variant.
And then the ET crotch poke. And now we got another instance of animators being weird.
Did he
Now,
say
this
the
one
line?
I'll
That's
admit is
true.
more of just like
We don't know if he said the line.
I guess, compared to anything else. So Rebecca Sugar is the creator of Steven Universe. I don't know why it keeps being Steven Universe. And again, this one's just funny. She drew some nice Ed, Edd and Eddie porn. Like full on Ed, Edd and Eddie getting it on action. Full. Apparently she drew this in her 20s. I just want to mention this. But personally, I just find this.
I want to say this tracks, okay? The people that are the best at animation do porn because they understand body autonomy the best. No, listen. People have made Rule 34 of everything in the world. And if you just assume that every animator out there, listen, every animator that has worked on a big show, there's probably like a 30% chance they've done some kind of porn. There's gotta be a small chance. However, I would say the weird part about this, and what we need to kind of put this person under investigation for, is these characters are the young children. That's kids. Why the kids? There's a lot of adults out there. That's weird. Are we sure that it's her? Because it's
It's
so
hilarious
strange.
that she went on to create a very popular animated show for children while she also was, drawing some Ed, Edd and Eddie porn.
Wait,
beforehand.
while?
Okay, this last
Okay.
one.
If it was during, that's really weird. I mean, it's really weird in general, but that's even more weird.
Save for last, one of my favorite ones, the Skinwalker theory of courage. Now, this one has some real merit to it. It's not just a theory just to be a theory. It's actually real. What if I told you?
Courage the Cowardly Dog is already a deranged, scary show that have traumatized some kids. So if we're gonna get into the weird courage theories, it's gonna get even worse.
Courage the Cowardly Dog was based on a true story. The rundown old house you see in every single episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog, what if that was based on a true location? And this real location has a very interesting backstory.
Now, I do want to mention this theory did get a little bit popular, like in the realm of Reddit and maybe
Did he move? What
a
happened?
little bit on TikTok and just, Twitter posts here and there. And
I've never heard of this theory.
This are kind of all over the place, but I'm
excited now.
best to research as much as possible to kind of figure out what really is going on and what actually happened at this house. Now, a lot of people say it was an elderly couple and a dog, but actually it was an elderly couple and a cat, which, I mean, to be fair, the pet doesn't really matter regardless, it's just a pet. Their names were William and Margaret. William was apparently described as a not so nice person, whereas Margaret was described as a very nice person. They owned a business.
Dude, why
called
is it every single 1950s looking ass guy,
Margaret.
like
William
white
was-
guy with glasses, a receding hairline, and a massive forehead, always turns out to be an arsehole? There's not a single one that's not like racist, homophobic, dickhead. And there's always like the 1950s hair bun is the woman that gets abused. What's going on with the men back then? Or I guess the men currently still.
Apparently described as a not so nice person, whereas Margaret was described as a very nice person. They owned a business called Patterrz Photo Supply. And the reason this is so talked about is the fact that they were actually known in the community, and their disappearances are still not solved to this day. There's definitely a lot of mystery and theories that go behind this. I mean, this case, again, still hasn't been solved and still is open. Apparently, friends of the couple told police that they went on an extended vacation to Florida and had sent instructions to distribute their assets and property to their friends, family, and employees, which obviously is pretty suspicious. And also, friends who have talked to him days before the disappearances heard nothing about them traveling or going on vacation, or even seemed like anything was off at all. It just seemed like a normal day for them. And what makes things even weirder is some friends even mentioned that they actually made plans to hang out like a week in advance, you know, before they disappeared. And the scene that was described at the house is as following. Margaret's fur coat and the couple's other expensive clothes were left at the cleaners. The house was in complete chaos with piles of dishes in the sink, and the house was described by police as being devoid of life. Go over the theories.
You know what I think it was? Okay, just going off of what I know now, they might just run away. They might have been tired of the life that they had there. They wanted a completely fresh slate, so they hop in the car, divvy up all the stuff that they are leaving to friends, family, whatever, and they're like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's drop everything. Let's start a new life. Let's be spontaneous. Let's scarpa, guys. Let's get out here.
As to what happened, and I'll talk about what I personally think happened. Now, obviously, these theories include many different things, going up to UFOs and even aliens. You guys know how it is. And the very popular, accepted theory is the idea of skinwalker, which is what the theory is. You know, it's called the skinwalker theory, where a lot of people said that this couple saw many sightings of skinwalkers and
what the hell is a skinwalker?
And stuff like that. But there's so many contradicting articles. Some people say that's not true. Some people say
what is this?
True.
Why are we just assuming that everyone knows what a skinwalker? What is a skinwalker? What is that? Skinwalker dog? It's a witch that can possess people? What?
Kind of just gotta, you know, take it with a grain of salt. And apparently in 1984, the Pattersons' former caretaker confessed to seeing and cleaning up blood in the garage as part of a scalp on the Pattersons' boat. And he also claimed to have
maybe he just cut his finger. That's all.
An associate of the Pattersons put a bloody sheet in the trunk of their car. And apparently the reason he never said anything about it is the fear of deportation, since he was technically undocumented. So let's talk about what I personally think happened. There's this man named...
Okay, there's a little bit of blood there as evidence that we can use. I still think that the idea of let's be spontaneous, let's get out of here, holds the most weight. I don't think there's aliens. I mean, there could be aliens. The skinwalker thing kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think any of the skinwalkers, maybe they're running away from the skinwalkers. Maybe they thought there was someone coming after them. Maybe the FBI was spying on them. They mistook it for a skinwalker. They scarpered. The FBI spying on them because they owned a business that may have had links to some organized crime. There you go. That's my theory.
David Ray Parker. And he has another nickname. He was called...
Oh, good theory, Amber. Maybe the couple killed someone, hid the body, and then decided, let's Scarpa, we need to get out of here because we are both accomplices to a murder. We need to get out of here as fast as we can, start a new life. So they dropped everything, left. If there was another murder in the area that was unsolved, that could have been it.
Box killer. So Margaret and William Patterson and their pet lived in a town called Truth and Consequence. This man named David Ray Parker, or better known as Toy Box Killer, was living in a town called Elephant Boot or Butt, I don't know. But that was approximately 7 miles north of Truth and Consequence. And let's give you guys a little bit of an idea of what this man was known for. David Parker Ray was an American kidnapper, torturer, and suspected serial killer. Though no bodies were found,
Ray
was accused by his accomplices of killing several women and was suspected by the police to have murdered as many as 60 plus women from Arizona. Apparently, Ray soundproofed a semi-trailer, which he called his toy box, and equipped it with items used for sexual torture. He would kidnap between 5 to 6 women a year, holding each of them captive for around 3 to 4 months. During this period, he would sexually abuse his victims, sometimes involving his dog or his wife, who participated willingly in her husband's crime.
What?
And he would often torture them with surgical instruments. Then Ray would drug them with barbiturates, which apparently is a drug that acts as a central nervous system depressant, in an attempt to erase their memories of what happened, and then he kind of just drops them on the side of the road. Ray was convinced of kidnapping.
Wait, he just drops them off and he gives them like amnesia juice? Does it actually work? What the hell? He doesn't even kill them? That's insane. What? I'm so confused. Did it work?
2001, for which he received a lengthy sentence. But unfortunately, he was never convicted of murder, and then he died of a heart attack about 1 year after his convictions in 2 cases. And if we want to get a little bit more detailed, because this does go into more detail, he apparently killed his victims using whips, chains, pulleys, straps, clamps, leg spreader
so he did
bars,
kill his
surgical
victims?
blades, electric shock machines, and saws. Holy shit. And apparently there was a mirror mounted on the ceiling above the table to which he strapped his victim. How did this man not get charged with murder? But anyway, getting to my theory, this man killed 60 plus people, and he lived 7 miles from Truth and Consequence, and apparently he was known to go to different towns to kidnap people and to, you know, do
What, they kidnap the couple?
And as it said in the police report,
no, they couldn't
there's
have.
been 0 bodies found. He's been accused of 60 plus murders. However, 0 bodies found, and that couple are completely missing. And they were completely missing out of the blue with no response from anyone, with no signs showing that they were going to leave. And apparently by this article, their friends received notes from them saying where they were going and what they were doing. So
0 bodies found out of 60 women killed? How incompetent was the police force back then? I know it was hard to solve murders because you basically had to walk out with a magnifying glass yourself and that's all you had to your name. But 60 over years and years and years? What? At some point you have to fire the sheriff. You just have to kick him to the curb, get someone new in. That's insane.
David Ray Parker potentially killed.
Yeah, if they were murdered, then why would they leave the message or the note to the friends and family to divide up the juices, right? It's not like they sacrificed themselves to the serial killer themselves, right?
And, you know, did whatever he did, and then left notes for their friends. Now, you gotta remember, this was in the 80s, you know,
they think that the serial killer left notes for the friends. I don't know. I feel like this may just be a coincidence. I still prescribe to the theory that they just went on their own. They just wanted to start a new life. So they scuppered and left everything behind.
And murderers kind of could just do what they want and not get caught. That's just kind of how it was. But how they kind of just disappeared out of the blue, plus this David Ray Parker guy, 7 miles down the road, convicted of kidnapping and killing 60 plus people, and none of those people have been found. It kind of starts connecting the dots. You know?
How do you find none of them? That is insane.
And the house that everyone relates this to is none other than this house, which is actually located in Truth and Consequence.
Oh, that's why it's related to Courage the Cowardly Dog. Dude, that might be true. I mean, it looks really, really similar. It is literally like point for point, bar for bar, exactly the same.
Now, I don't actually believe the Patterrz.
And it is an elderly lady and an elderly man living in the middle of nowhere with no one around. Maybe it is.
Apparently they live somewhere else, but this house is located in Truth and Consequence, which is the same town where this took place. So a lot of
that's not even their house? All right, well, it might not be this. Not even their goddamn house. What do you mean? Well, that is the Cartoon Network Iceberg. Holy gee, this went off the rails. This went off the chain. Goodness gracious me. Well, make sure that you subscribe to Bionic Pig. And also, make sure you subscribe to this channel if you like my reactions.